I think the thing that I've learned is if you have a long-term plan, people will come at you and they'll be like, oh, what's your 5-year plan? It's like, okay, calm down, right? Like you can think about like your plan in like 2 years, maybe a year. But what I'd really advocate for is long-term thinking. If you know where you want to go, and let's say you want to do like 10 different things. I'll use some hyperbole. Let's say you want to be an ambassador. Let's say you want to be an astronaut. Let's say you want to like run a fintech company or something like that. Going back to my earlier point about finding your pivot, I think one, it's important to figure out how you would make those transitions between them, but then also know where you want to go in the end. Because if you know where you want to go in the long term, the short term decisions you make won't be limited to that point in time. When you're evaluating an opportunity or a decision, you'll be able to say, okay, I want to do this in 2 years, or I want to be here in 5 years or 10 years, whatever. How does this impact that? And if you're just focused on short-term things like, oh, this will help me do X, Y, Z, or this will give me this much more money, it can negatively impact your long-term plan. And by long-term plan, I'm not saying you have to have like, it written down in some Word document or Notion or whatever. Just have an idea and start connecting the dots. Maybe make like a mind map of like, this is where I am, this is where I want to go, and then just start drawing or writing in bullet points of like where you want to be in between them. And to your earlier point, I've become a advocate of long-term thinking, because if you would have asked me like 7 years ago or 10 years ago, like, oh, do you want to be in product management? I would have been like, I have no idea what that is. But I would have known that like, hey, I want to do this in the next year or next 2 years. And so the decisions that I made in that time might have not set me up to be a product manager, but at the end of the day, they got me to where I am. So can't complain.